Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility alongside Mr. Martin Popoff in the co-captain's chair. Today is part 4 of our recurring rant about bands, very notable bands with some pretty consistently bad album covers. So, Martin, good morning, my friend. How are you today?
Good morning. Doing all right. This will be fun. Yeah.
So,
variety here.
as we kind of did with the last video, we're not going to kind of announce what we're going to do. We're just going to kind of get started. We're going to jump right in. And Martin's first choice is none other than...
Absolutely, Pantera. Look at that album cover. That's a beauty, eh? Unbelievable. It's like the riot seal almost, right? Reborn. This is a band that paid their dues. This is a 1983 album. I mean, people forget how far they go back. They basically go back as far as Metallica, all these bands. So they're doing, and these records are not that bad, these early records, but the album covers are terrible. Pantera is totally one of my favorite bands of all time. They totally saved metal for the 90s. I just love all that later output. And like I say, even these early ones are not bad for what they are. The productions are pretty good. The playing is amazing. So yeah, it's a decent band, but yeah. So these album covers, what do we got next? So the '84 album, again, another really sort of amateurish illustration. I used to draw stuff like that all the time, on my school books or whatever. Yeah, there they are looking kind of like a cross between hair metal and tough,
I do want to say something, though, because a lot of people who have never heard these albums, they're like, oh, yeah, I never heard the early Pantera albums. It's just like generic glam metal. These albums are pretty damn heavy. This is not glam metal at all.
Glam metal at all, no. Just the odd little thing there, and the odd maybe the lyrics somewhat, they're party rocking lyrics, but I mean, no, they're well put together, and there's a lot of fireworks on there, and rest in peace, Dime. He's really just proving himself immediately as this really cool guitarist. So yeah, they were good records. So what do we got next? Yeah, more of the same. More of the illustration. The I Am the Night watermelon or orange or whatever that thing is with.
Yeah, I have no idea.
and then your classic shrapnel early Metal Blade type picture on the back, same sort of colors.
Yeah, is that Dime or is that like Michelangelo, right? It's like, yeah. who is it there?
Yeah, and Metallica's early pictures look like that too, right?
Thankfully, this guy never popped back again. I think that was a pretty good choice. But then, so we got, so Phil is now in the band by this time, so.
Yeah, so another, just like a picture, bam, power metal, right? And it's interesting, power metal went on to mean something else, but Pantera are actually power metal in a way that they're the most powerful form of metal. And remember the early, the early Metallica, I think it's the business card said power metal on it, right? So it's interesting. The true actual, what you would think would be power metal, Metallica and Pantera. Pantera's almost like a Metallica on steroids situation. That's heavier than what power metal really became, which I often call ballerina metal or frilly sleeves metal, right? But anyways, here we are transitioning into, so it's 1988. They get their record deal, and they changed their sound quite a bit. They've got the Terry Date production in for the very first album, Cowboys from Hell. Sorry, all of these are actually fully signed, so they're scribbled all over. But Cowboys from Hell, great title. It personifies them. They are the Cowboys from Hell. I remember when this came out, they got a lot of press for that because there was some vandalism things done, I think up here in Canada, by some kids that were calling themselves the Cowboys from Hell. But, it's just the band sort of photoshopped crudely into an old-timey barroom picture. Yeah, not a terrible concept or whatever, but it's kind of not greatly done. At least they have this really cool logo, and they're going to use that throughout. But no, not a great album cover. They're all throwing the heavy metal shapes and stuff, and Phil's jumping off the bar. Well, there you go. Great album. Completely revolutionized metal with the sound, with that gated bass drum sound that Vinny was doing. Then they turn in this album cover, which is just the guy getting punched in the face, the blurry black and white photo. Again, at least we got the logo. The picture matches with the title, but the title is just kind of like some red ink red with not even black key line. Yeah, even the photo is very pixelated when you look at it closely, but just a real blah sort of, even though it's an action shot. And an absolutely barnstormer album, maybe their best album.
Face melter of an album. Yep.
Yeah, big improvement over Cowboys. And then we've got their only really good album cover, I think. This is a great album cover, but it's those classic 90s sort of colors. Forgive me, I forget who did this cover. He's a famous guy who did all of the Overkill and Testament and all that stuff. What is his name again? Oh yeah, then because you got to deal with this, right? To find any credits or whatever, all the hand, all the folding and stuff. But
not happening.
But yeah, this guy's very famous, and he did a lot of album covers during the day, and this is his typical style. Sorry, I forget his name, but it looks great, right? I love the way the logo is this rusty brown, and then the picture and the title goes with the Far Beyond Driven. He's getting this thing driven through his skull. And one of the cool things about this one is that it came with the blue, instead of black disc, plastic to go with the cover. So that was cool. That's their one, best cover.
Arguably the darkest and most menacing looking album cover to debut at #1 on Billboard record charts, right?
Wow. So yeah, debuted at #1. And it's also probably their darkest period and their most peaks and valleys album, with a lot of extremity, a lot of atmospheric sounds on it. It's their most unraveled and kind of psycho album, and an absolute classic, of course. We've got Reinventing the Steel, which, as Chris eloquently described, we've got the booze bottle that had to get, very loosely pixelated out. We've got, this party dude jumping through the fire, which has nothing to do with Reinventing the Steel, which is a great title. Although they already reinvented the steel with Cowboys from Hell, but whatever. Great album, absolutely killer album, but stupid album cover. Fake flames. The guys in shorts, these little, plaid Scottish shorts, holding up this bottle that gets pixelated out. We've got the explicit advisory on it, Reckon It Too. Just that the flames sort of color scheme doesn't look great. Nothing really jumps out at you from this cover except the naked guy. Half-naked guy. And then we've got the Great Southern Trendkill, which is not a terrible cover, but not great. It's got a really fearsome looking snake on it. But again, I don't think the title particularly works with the snake, the Great Southern Trendkill. And I never liked that title because Trendkill is not a word. It's like something Scorpions would make up, Love Drive, right? So it bothers you that it's got this word that's made up. So not a terrible cover. I don't have the Hits album here, but that one's not a great album cover. I mean, the live album, Official 101 Proof or whatever. But then they've got this terrible, terrible album cover for the Greatest Hits album too, right? With the marijuana leaves on it. Cowboys from Hell, that stupid,
looking like a hardcore band, right? I mean, it's just like,
yeah, it's all kind of like just collaged in. Far Beyond the Greatest Southern Cowboys Vulgar Hits. That's not a terrible title, but also with the best of. So so it's a mess of a title, right? Because it's the best of Pantera, then the title. So there you go. I mean, it's a short catalog. It's not as long as some of the other ones we talk about, but it's a mixture of one great cover, a bunch that are not so great, and then just a legendary string at the front of just horrendous covers. So that's why Pantera makes my list.
There you go. And for those of you asking, Martin and I are going to be ranking the Pantera catalog sometime over the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. All right, so my contribution to this fine show here we're doing, my first contribution is going to be none other than Mr. Ted Nugent.
Right.
All right, another one of those guys where if you didn't know who was the star of the show, he's going to let you know with almost every single album cover, right? It's like, it's all about me, and I'm sure Mr. Derek St. Holmes and the rest of the guys kind of didn't like that too much in the early days, right? And we heard all about those stories of all the kind of fighting for power within Ted Nugent's band. But I will say I don't hate this first album cover here. Again, it's kind of blurry, Ted's looking like a Neanderthal man, but he's probably saying, "But you guys all know me from the Amboy Duke, so I'm already a star. Here I am, my first official solo album."
Kind of like the logo too. I mean, the logo's pretty cool. It grows on you. I mean, it almost looks like something that wasn't going to turn into a logo, and then of course it's not on the second one, but then it does turn into a logo, right?
Absolutely. I never understood this album cover at all. It's like, did I forget to put my deodorant on 3 days ago since the last time I showered? I don't know. I always thought this was a pretty silly album cover. I don't like these like real fake posy type things, and that's exactly what this is.
Yeah. And then you get two of them, right? You two Teds. One isn't enough. You get two.
That's right.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I'm looking at the reissue here. I'd almost rather they just threw that on the front cover, right?
Right. Yeah.
Ted looking all sorts of gnarly.
I mean, Ted does look pretty cool in every one of those shots. So, I mean, had they used just one of them, it would have been better. But yeah, it's funny that the type style's weird. Mine has the old type style. Mine had the, with a little bit of color in it, a little bit, it wasn't just gold and black. It was like red and blue and black with a slightly different type style. Yeah, that's the kind of the reissue type style. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame because Ted is a cool looking guy. Oh,
yeah.
Especially back in the day, man. I mean, he was just like you look up rock star in the dictionary, there's a picture of Ted Nugent, right? But
I always loved that look. It's the Rick McLeish, Derek Sanderson look. My dad actually looked like that at that time.
Oh, really?
big mustache.
Big ass mustache hanging down, right? Love this album, but that's a little too close for comfort there, Ted. I think. Again, and you look at the CD reissue, awesome live shot of him on the back. But here it's like, is he trying to look menacing? This is a heavy metal album. I'm a bad boy rocker, and actually not that heavy of an album, right?
But it's cool. The gatefold goes around the corner, and the girl's hands scratching him, right?
Oh yeah, might as well show that. Cool, right? There we go.
So there's the continuation. That's why he's looking like that, right?
There's the cat scratching right there. So yeah. What else we got? So. Double Live Gonzo, kind of an iconic album cover. I don't mind this. You got on the back, sporting the massive beard, right? This is pretty cool, I think. We talked about this recently, and I actually don't mind this album cover. I don't really care much for the album itself. I think the back is pretty cool, Intensities, but and then we got some. Now these are pretty cool. So we shit on Ted a lot because he's got to be on the cover of every single album, and some are worse than others. But I don't mind State of Shock. I think this is a really cool album cover. Again, Ted playing some lead there. He got the electricity going through his fingers. It kind of matches with the title of the album, so this kind of works for me. Then on the back, that's questionable.
Yeah. I always liked that shot. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah.
And we've got, again, love this album cover.
That's a great album cover. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you call badass, right?
Yeah.
That's what you call badass.
Great. Yeah.
That's what you call, Chris Allo, if you're watching, this is T-shirt worthy album cover. And in fact, I do have a T-shirt of this. So pretty cool. And you got, him looking kind of all, sex god on the back a little bit, so a little weird how contrast the two. But then we got here the Live at the Hammersmith '79. I always love this album cover.
Yeah, that's a later thing with yeah.
Then we got Scream Dream, great album, kind of a weird album cover, but I think it kind of works. Although, do we really want to see Ted half naked in a loincloth? I don't know, but I kind of think, the guitars coming out of his wrists, I think is kind of cool.
With this subtly growing jokiness to what he does, right?
Yes. So that's
funny,
silliness.
and that's got Terminus El Dorado, and what else is a little jokey on that? Well, Scream Dream is, I love Scream. That's actually probably very close to my favorite Ted album, that and State of Shock.
It's very strong.
But it's got 3 or 4 songs on it. Wango Tango. He's getting a little silly, so the look is getting a little silly, right?
Yeah, and the back of the album cover is quite silly,
very
actually.
silly.
So, then you got just the Nugent album. Ted just kind of sitting there, looking all sorts of pensive.
Yeah.
I think, you know what? I would have almost rather this just be totally black with the logo just stamped right there in the middle, but and then, on the back of the CD, you got this another cool kick-ass picture because Ted always looks cool on stage, right? Penetrator. Like what? Not a big fan of this album cover.
No.
Even worse, probably the worst one out of all of them. Little Miss Dangerous. It's like, do we want to guess how young the lady is on the cover here? Maybe we better not go there.
I thought, hang on for a sec. Is that his daughter on the cover?
I don't even know.
I don't know. Does he have a? I can't remember. I might be mixing up that story with something else. But
so did I ever tell you? So not to divulge too much from the topic, but we talked about does he have a daughter? So prior to us buying this house here where we live, where we used to live, I actually belonged to a local gym, and I was having a conversation with a guy who I used to see at the gym all the time that I became friendly with, who was a former heavyweight boxing contender. And his wife, many, many years, never knew her father. All right. So she grew up with a single mother. Many, many years later, she did the research. Her mother finally told her who her actual birth father was. And he was Ted Nugent. So he had a brief affair with her mother back in the early 70s. And lo and behold, her new dad that she never knew is this guy right there. So you wonder how many of those people are out there, right? Yeah. So I hate this album cover.
Yeah. And the text too, right?
Yeah, it's just, and the logo sucks, and just
thing, like he's not using his logo or whatever, right? And just to back up, I never liked how Double Live Gonzo. Nobody knows how to say it. No, well, we know how to say it, but we don't know how to show it because it's Double Live, and then Gonzo, and then I think there's exclamation right, and there's the space between it. So it's another one of these botched live album titles, right?
Yeah, exactly. I will say,
yeah.
Always like that picture. I mean, you want to see Ted surrounded by a million guitars. What he was trying to go for here, don't really know. I mean, here's another one, Spirit of the Wild. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't like that album, but it's a typical, it's like so many of the other ones, right?
Yeah. At least the logo is cool. It's the
he's got that back, right?
I mean,
yeah.
Terrible live album cover. I mean, first of all, you can't even see the people in the audience.
Yeah, did they show up?
I don't know. You can't tell. It's black. So he's just basically staring out. Could be an empty arena. I don't know. You can't really tell. It's just, I don't know what they were thinking. And then you got Love Grenade.
No.
Good album though. And another good one. Crazy. Granted, he was on Spitfire at the time, and Spitfire, not really known for sinking a lot of money into cover art creation. Unfortunately,
I love those two albums.
They're really good, but they're both they're both plagued by some really generic, poor album art. And then let's go back to me being the guy on the cover. It's all about me. I love me. Do you love me? Of course you love me. Just shut up and jam, Ted. So,
but it's two tones of brown and white and red and black. I mean, it looks like a cheap country album or a reissue 10-track greatest hits album that you get at a truck stop, right?
Yeah, exactly. His was this his one and only Frontiers release? I believe so. I don't remember. Anyway, there you have it.
Those kind of went downhill pretty fast, right? And then there's along the way. I mean, I guess you could say some of those early ones are iconic, and because they're all there's some double and triple platinum sellers in there, right? But not great. I mean, but you're right. I mean, a live shot of Ted usually looks pretty cool.
Can't go wrong there. That's why that full bluntal nugidity. That's why this is such a fail. So he's got all sorts of great live shots on all these other ones, and you couldn't give us anything better here. That's the best you can do. That's the best you can do. Come on.
And stop with the head microphone shots too. I don't like those. Right?
Yeah, I totally hear you. Yep. And we know he uses them already, but come on, it just doesn't look good. Yeah. Next year he's gonna have the little Wi-Fi thing in his ear too. It's like, come on.
Well, okay, so I'm up with my last one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I saved my best for last. And when I say best, I mean worst, because this is one of the bands that I put in that category that pops right to mind when I say aggressively bad album covers, like we had way back in episode 1 where I picked, I think, Def Leppard and maybe AC/DC, Van Halen. Those are the 4. These are my 4 that have the worst album covers. So it's this band right here, Foreigner. I just find their album covers, like I say, aggressively trying to be butt ugly. I never like this. I know you don't mind this painting, but I hate this painting. I just find it, the muted colors, it's a gray shade of every color, gray shade of brown or red or green. The guys do not look like a rock band at all in their trench coats.
They don't. I think as a debut album, it fails. I mean, I don't mind the painting itself, but yeah, as a debut album trying to make a statement, it absolutely fails.
They're blank facial expressions. They're all Mona Lisas, right? The name of the band, Foreigner, and black ink and blah blah blah. I just think it's terrible looking, and it goes to prove, I mean that an album cover cannot sink an album, because obviously there's a massive hit album. So a lousy album cover doesn't mean your album's going to crash, right? And then Double Vision, right? Yeah, there we go. So again, just another band shot, but again, it's a band shot of all 6 guys and then 2 repeated, and it's actually the same picture as I see now, right? It's the same picture of 2 guys repeated. And who is that? I mean, it looks to be Mick and not Lou, right?
No, not Lou. Should have been Lou, right?
Who the other guy is, right? Yeah. But I guess there's the slight play on words, double visions.
I will say they look more like a bunch of rockers here than they do over on the debut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I like the color scheme of that one, actually. Yeah. I like that sepia brown mixed with the white and the blue, so it's not terrible. Next, we have Head Games, and I've often said that this is their one okay album cover, and the rest are all bad. So this one's like a 5 or a 6 out of 10 for me, because I do like the sort of old Hypnosis idea of, I can't remember what they call this overexposed color thing that they do. Although I don't think this is a Hypnosis, but it's got the theme of she's in the head, the British word for bathroom, I guess. Yeah. And she's wiping off graffiti, although Lou Gramm went and signed his I'm sure that's where he signs anytime he's asked to sign one of these, right? I do like this color scheme where it's a bold color scheme of the red mixed with the green, and it all ties in with the the cover. So it's not a terrible album cover. I think it's okay. This is by far, well, not by far, but this is probably my favorite Foreigner album. This over Double Vision. I really do like it a lot.
Throw a bunch of strange faucets on another individual there. You got the UFO Fawcett album, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then we've got Foreigner 4. Haha. The test pattern thing. I don't care that it's the test pattern. People say, "Oh, it's the test pattern." It's stupid looking. It's really, really, really dull. Hate the colors. Hate everything about it. We've got. Is this next? I think this is next. Agent Provocateur. Again, terrible. At least it's embossed, so it sticks up, right? It's bumpy. But yeah, F for Foreigner. I mean, I don't.
More like F this cover.
Yeah, F this cover, exactly. Inside Information. I think this might be next. I'm not sure. Yeah. But yeah, another terrible album cover. Just this blurry picture. Dull colors, same dull colors as before. A lot of gray, a little bit of red.
Honestly, that might be the worst out of all of them. That's just terrible.
Bad. Well, there's also this one that looks like the K-Tel albums I used to buy in 1973 when I was a kid to get smoking in the boys' room. Focus, and what else was important back then? Sweet Willy Willy was on some of those, right? So you get these occasionally heavy songs mixed in with Tire Yellow Rainbow by Tony Orlando and Dawn, right? But that's just at least it's die cut, so it's it's got the old where is it there? So yeah, so there you go, the die cutting, right?
That certainly didn't stop people from buying it, though, man. That sold a shitload of copies.
But yes, it's a jukebox records. Haha, funny. And then we've got you've got what Inside or Unusual Heat. That might be the worst one. That's
that's pretty bad too.
With the random title down the side. never take long elongated letters or any letters really and run them straight down in a vertical pattern. It looks terrible. Especially,
You know what's missing from here, Martin?
what?
The snake from Nazareth, Snakes and Ladders scooting down, right? So I apologize.
Exactly, yeah.
Apparently snakes do exist in the desert. All right. I don't
Yeah.
right? Whatever.
And we got the new Foreigner logo and, you know, unusual heat. I don't know what that has to do with anything. It looks a little bit like, you could pair that one with Pink Floyd Wish You Were Here a little bit too, I suppose, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yep.
And then we've got Mr. Moonlight. I don't know why I have two different copy colors of this. I think this might be the promo only cover, but it's terrible. And that one's terrible too. It's just a mess. You can't see the guys. They're all mixed in there somewhere. What Mr. Moonlight has to do with anything, I have no idea. And if this is the official cover, which I think it is, it has Mr. Moonlight like 4 or 5 times over top of each other.
Yeah, that's ugly. Yeah,
it's really bad. And then you've got Can't Slow Down, where at least it's embossed and foil stamped, so you've got some foil going on there. So it's a little upscale. I just noticed you've got the F off of Agent Provocateur. I never noticed that before. But yeah, just very generic, not much to it. You've got your Can't Slow Down and your Scorpions letters at the bottom. Or your Rollerball letters, because they stole that from Rollerball. That's what they told me. I
really
did a Scorpions book, and I asked about the lettering, and they said, "Oh, Rollerball was a big." Because remember, Rollerball was awesome. I mean, that kicked off the roller skating phase, and James Caan, and that movie was creepy, right? 1974, I think it was, and we were all playing Rollerball and beating each other up on roller skates and stuff when that came out. That was a huge deal, right? And so it must have affected them in Britain too. I mean, over in Germany, and Scorpions took those letters. They used the Rollerball letters. So there you go. There's my aggressively bad choice. That is literally Foreigner's probably the #1 band I think of when I think of bad album covers. Literally, they're the top of my list.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because Martin was chomping at the bit to include them in our first episode, and then he was actually going to give them to me, and I was like, nah, I'll pass on Foreigner for right now because I actually wanted Martin to do that at some point during this series. So, all right. So, I don't know, Martin, we may have the worst here saved for last. I don't know. This is going to be all right. So, without further ado, and I got a ton of them here. I didn't even bring them all out because there's way too many of them. Frank Zappa, Mothers of Invention, Frank Zappa solo, whatever. I don't mind this one. All right. So this is very indicative of the period. So this is the psychedelic era. I totally get that, you know, and then on the back cover, you got these little, you know, Susan Cream Cheese. What got into you? These little caption balloons like
Isn't that the album often called the very first concept album of all time?
Yes. I mean, that could be up for debate, but yeah. And some people even call this, as psychedelic as this is, a lot of people say, you know, the genesis of prog rock kind of also started here. I don't know. It's
you got Sgt. Pepper loosely. You've got SF Sorrow from Pretty Things. I think you've got an early Moody Blues.
Yeah, you got Days of Future Past, their second album that came a little early.
That I think is 60.
And all these albums we're talking about come before that first King Crimson album. And then you got that one off by that band Touch, which came just before the King Crimson album. That's pretty progressive. So I don't know. Is
King Crimson, is that a concept album, the first one?
No.
Not really, no.
They were not really into the concept album.
So what is the first actually absolutely true concept album? Not Thick as a Brick. Tommy.
Tommy's still 69, so Freak Out is actually earlier than that. So it could be the Pretty Things album. I mean, that they've said that's probably the first rock opera, right? That predates Tommy by a little bit. So yeah. I don't know.
Because Yes doesn't really get going with that right away. And when does Genesis get going with full concept albums?
Not till what, 73, right? Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. So that's still a few years away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So here, I mean, that's just like, yeah. All right. So yeah, we're ugly and we know it, and we're just gonna put on some weird clothes and.
I got a Max Webster album that I could put up against that one.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. A little Absolutely Free. Just not very pleasing to the eye. We love Frank, but yeah, let's remind ourselves that we love Frank, right? Again, the album's called Lumpy Gravy, and then here you got a pretty ugly shot of Frank, and I actually I think the back is very cool looking. But, you know, this band was not, they were not attractive looking guys, unfortunately. Yeah, Uncle Meat. more horrific than anything else, right? And you know, burnt weenie sandwich. What this has to do with the title, I have no idea.
You're right. This was a great choice.
Yeah. There's more. Weasels rip my flesh. At least the title is being portrayed on the cover, but it's really, yeah. Probably one of the most, again, I don't know what it has to do with the title, but a really cool album cover is Hot Rats. Yeah. That's a little bit different. But then, you know, you got Chunga's Revenge. Are we keeping you up, Frank? What's going on there?
Yeah.
And then nothing like just a plain white cover, the Phil Maurice live album. All right. It's as plain as it gets. Then you got the soundtrack to 200 Motels.
I wonder if Frank's trying to say, you know, because he's really probably the number one guy I would think of when I think of as a musical genius in popular music, right? So, you know, and he's writing out scores for everybody, everything. I wonder if he's actively saying basically, you know what, I'm diverting attention away from these covers because I want you to concentrate on
the music. Yeah. Yeah, I think Frank always basically, his attitude was like, F you to anything commercial, although he dipped a little bit into that later on, but he was like, it's almost like he's Mr. Anti-Establishment.
Yeah.
It's like the music is not accessible. These covers are not accessible. Buy it if you want to. Don't buy it if you want to. It's like, well, if you don't want to, I don't really care. I'm going to make the music I want to make. And you gotta give some kudos to a guy for doing that. I mean, through all these albums, all these years, right?
It's like he's weeding out the you know, the people that he doesn't want along for the ride with his music.
Exactly.
Look, if these album covers are too ugly, it's not for you. We aren't the same kind of person, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Waka Jawaka, right? You got the sink with the hot rats. Again, you got to read into that a little bit, right? You expect hot, cold, hot rats. What all this has to do with it, I have no idea. I dig this album cover. So this, again, very cartoony, the Grand Wazoo. Very well done.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And if you look close, you can see like a lot of the guys that are rampaging around here are all holding weird sorts of instruments. And this is like a big band jazz album for Frank. You know, you got this.
Yeah, man.
And of course, Apostrophe.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No, I mean, it's an iconic shot of Frank, so
he's a pleasing looking guy to look at. He's a cool looking dude, right?
He is. He's weird looking, but he's weird looking in a good way, I think. And, you know, the mustache and the little thing down here, it's just the big curly hair. I kind of dig this album. Well, it's my favorite Zapp album of all time, but this is kind of artsy in a weird way, I think. And then you got all the Zodiac stuff on the back, which is kind of neat.
That other UK expression, it's a dog's breakfast, right? I mean, these album covers are like just a chaotic dog's breakfast.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of everything here. Then you got the iconic Roxy and Elsewhere. I mean, this is what a live album cover should look like. Okay, there's a photograph taken from the actual show, and if you went to see Zappa live at the time, you know, he had all these dancers and singers and all these musicians and whatnot. That's what you get here. And then, of course, there he is playing, ripping on his Gibson SG on the back. That's a live album cover right there. You know, then you got Bongo Fury with Captain Beefheart, who, you know, if you're looking at it, unless you really know the guy, you're like, all right, who's this strange looking gentleman with the hat sitting next to him? We can't see his face. All we see is his mustache. I don't know. They don't look like they're actually sitting too close to each other, or they're really interested in sitting too close to each other. I don't know.
Captain's a cool looking dude too. I like his face too.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. Yep. Then you got Zoo to Lures.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
You know, you got Terry Bozzio, Patrick O'Hearn, and Mr. Oh God, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Violinist, keyboard player extraordinaire. What the hell is his name?
Eddie Jobson.
Eddie Jobson. That's it. Anthony Farrar, if you're watching, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of your hero. I apologize. Zappa in New York.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, you know what? This should have been the front cover right there. But You know, I guess if you're from New York, which I am, you can appreciate it, but I know what the city looks like. You know, that's not a very good shot of it, to be honest with you. Then this is awful. Studio Tan. Like, what in the world? And then you got, of course, little Gregory Peccary there up in the front, looking upset that someone stole his pizza. Sleep Dirt. Very abstract stuff here, more cartoony stuff. You know, Zappa was really into like kind of bizarre cartoons and like stop motion photography. So you can kind of see where, you know, the genesis of some of this stuff kind of came from. You know, then you got Joe's Garage.
Yeah.
I guess kind of neat, you know, whatever. And now we're getting into the ridiculous stuff. So that, you know, Chic Your Booty.
I do like that though, because like I say, he's a cool looking dude, right?
Yeah. And he's, you know, and this is, that's the album title, right? That's the song. I mean, so it kind of portrays what you go
like
get.
That one,
Probably one of the worst ones out of all of them. Like, what in the world?
But it's urban abstract art, expressionist art, right?
Yeah, I guess. It's just, it's not good. And then you got this mess, which is all blurry and, you know, Tinseltown Rebellion. I don't know. Not a big fan of that. And then, of course, his big hit album.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Ship arriving too late to save a drowning witch. Look very carefully. You can
Kinda
actually
cool.
see what he's talking about there, right? So here you got the ship, you got the witch's hat right in the water. So I get it. And there's a moon unit on the back, right? Zappa starting to look a little older. Then you got Chic Your Boot. I know this is You Are What You Is.
That is my favorite Zappa.
That's a good album. Yeah. And this is Zappa at the height of his like kind of like silly socio-political lyrics, but really fun.
Songs, give me the
Short
songs.
songs. Yep. All the jazz fusion stuff is kind of left in the back. You got, I believe, Steve Vai's on this album, if I'm not mistaken. He was on a few of the albums around this time. But good, crisp songs and yeah.
That's the Zappa for me, man. Strictly commercial. Just give me the hits. Give me the songs.
There you go. There's another good one right in that time period. I actually love this album cover.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of badass, right? And there you got. So this is actually what that live Nugent album should have looked like, right? That we talked about on the other show, right? And then the last one I'm going to show here is Them or Us. Again, I don't really know what this has to do with anything. So we got a dog and a dress.
Kind of cool.
With a bottle of milk and a bottle of ketchup and what is that? Maybe a bottle of vinegar. I don't even know. And then Frank's on the back with a little mitt.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. Whatever.
See that one was a double, and Tinseltown's a double, and they're kind of peaks and valleys for me. They're a little hit and miss, but You Are What You Is just like gives it to you real fast, right? I like Chic Your Booty quite a bit too. And
those are fun.
The first Joe's Garage, not so much the second Joe's Garage.
Well, the second one's a little long songs and just
Watermelon Mr. Hayes.
Really. Yeah. I mean, the Zappa catalog is an interesting one. It's just another one of those tales of many eras. You've got the early stuff, and I didn't even pull out Reuben and the Jets, which is another ridiculous album cover. But you've got the really early, weird, avant-garde psychedelic period, which a lot of people, unless you're really into that type of stuff, that's not an easy listen. Then he moved into the more jazzy stuff, which I love a lot, the jazz fusion-y thing, and a little bits of prog rock and stuff. And then, you know, later in the 70s, he went for a little more hard rock style, and then he went into the more kind of commercial, compact songs, more lyrical based, less kind of instrumental stuff, but still really hot, you know, musical speaking. And then later he just really got into that political stuff later, you know, before he died.
And I like Utopia, and I like Ship Arriving Too Late. I like that Chad Wackerman style. Like,
Chad's great. Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
You know, kind of messy, chaotic, mid-rangey drummy. That's really good. You know, one of his albums that a lot of people don't talk about that is totally one of my favorites, and I play it all the time, is Broadway the Hard Way.
Oh, I have that. I didn't pull it out because it's too. Broadway the Hard Way is a great live album. Yeah.
And that's his Intensities in 10 Cities, right? Because it's a live album of all songs that aren't on. I don't think most or all are on anything else, right?
Yeah.
And it's really, really good, and it's political, but it's also really funny. Yeah. And the politics is all like so dated, right? It's all Pat Robertson and Ronald Reagan and all this stuff, right?
Yep.
Michael Jackson. makes fun of Elvis on it, I think too. But yeah, that's a really good one. But
In fact, I think that
bad
album make,
cover, right? He's in a pink suit, or
he's just sitting there like, hey, Broadway the hard way, right? It makes fun of the PMRC throughout that whole album because that was big at the time, and yeah, that's he had arguably one of his best bands on that in that era right there. I mean, he had some red hot play. I mean, that's Zappa in a weird way, kind of like, Miles Davis on the jazz side. It was one of those guys, those band leaders who just had all these great musicians kind of come through his band and then go on to bigger and better things. I mean, Zappa has had some absolutely terrific players throughout his band, all, throughout his career. So many great ones. Steve Vai.
But you're right. That's some bad album covers there. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll let everybody decide which are the worst here. So is it Zappa? Is it Pantera? Is it Nugent? Or is it Foreigner, right?
Geez, we've got 16 bands now. I wonder how they would all rank out. All 16 ranked. I wonder what that would be. Yeah.
Who knows? Some bad ones. And some of these are borderline bad, but they're just and a lot of great albums that just and maybe a couple of people asked us like, well, when are you guys going to do an episode on the truly great album covers?
Yeah, I can see doing that. I know who my number one would be. I won't say it right now, but I mean it's the one I think of every time. So and there's definitely that'd be a good one. We should talk about that.
Yeah.
Have you not ever done greatest band album covers?
I don't think so. I've done some shows on specific like album guys. Like I did a show on Rodney Matthews. I did a show on Roger Dean. I think I did some Hypnosis stuff, but I haven't done like band specific. So like this band consistently has great album covers, and there are those. There's plenty of them.
Because when you do a negative show, that's when you get the worst kind of trolling comments, right? Because you're starting from a basis of you're crapping all over this band, right? And so that gives the in for people to complain. Why are you crapping on this band, right? So our disappointing live albums, same thing, right? So you do a positive show, the comments tend to be more positive, right?
Yeah, and half the amount of people will watch the positive shows.
Oh yeah.
People love negative, Martin. That's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what we got cooking for you guys. So we might also revisit this going forward, but I would definitely like to do one on those great album covers as well, because that'll be a little refreshing change. We can always go back to the bad ones because I still have probably a few other bands I'd like to talk about in this series. But yeah, a little disclaimer here, guys. A lot of these albums we really like quite a bit. It's just you have to. It can be. And there was someone made a comment the other day that said, well, if you don't like the album cover, how can you say you like the album? Yeah. And I was like, really? It's like the music is different than the album cover. I mean, this could be the worst album cover in the world, but if the songs kick ass, I don't really care what the album cover looks like. I listened to plenty of albums and love plenty of, come on. Paranoid's one of my, it was the album that got me started into really, listening to heavy metal. That's one of the worst album covers ever, but it's still a kick-ass album, right? There's a lot of those out there. So cool. It totally can happen. So anyway, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. If you like what you see, please click on the Ko-Fi link down below. Buy us a coffee, a tea, a beer, whatever you like. And click on our merchandise link so you can go check out our T-shirts and hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, all the good stuff. And Martin, got any more of those, that new Rush book in stock, and how can people order? Yeah, I do have Limelight still. It's not at the site yet, but I've been shipping them out for 10 days. But Anthem is at the site, so martinpopoff.com. Anything that's in print is there with PayPal buttons. I've got the 2 Priest, I've got the 2 Sabbath, I've got the 3 Maiden, you name it. I mean, there's probably 50 books that are in print. But yeah, the ones that are going real fast right now are Anthem and Limelight together. Cool. Hopefully my copy of Limelight will be here shortly. I think it will. There was a comment from someone, one of our videos the other day. It's like, I love the show you guys did so much. I went to Martin's site and ordered like 4 books. There you go. Nice, yeah. That's the way it's got to work. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. So we'll see you. Martin and I are coming back Friday? Soon again. I'm not sure. Friday? Yeah, I think so. So Friday. So you guys have asked for it. We debated. We talked amongst ourselves for a couple days, and we said, you know what? We're going to give you underrated bands. All right. So that's coming up in a couple days. So stay tuned for that. For Martin Popoff, I am Pete Pardo. See you guys all later on. Take care. Bye-bye.